Greetings from real life. This is Jasmine from Real Life TV. Today, we are going to celebrate World Teen Mental Wellness Day. What is Teen Mental Wellness Day? Let's find out. We have a very special person to discuss this awareness sessions today. She is none other than Ms. Joanne Fernandes. She has more than 5 years of corporate experience and she has own visions to become a change of someone's life, and she found Flourish program to help individuals to reach their highest potential and become best in their own selves. So I welcome Joanne Fernandes to Real Life TV. Hi,
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so let's get starting, and we are celebrating a very special day, especially the teen mental wellness. So rather we talk about the teens, about the youth, especially about overall for the life, different stages of life, from the teenagers to the senior citizens, how important the mental wellness for an individual's life.
Right. So mental wellness, let me start with a definition of what mental wellness is. So according to the APA definition, it is characterized by emotional well-being, good behavioral adjustment, relative freedom from anxiety and disabling symptoms, and a capacity to establish constructive relationships and cope with the ordinary demands and stresses of life. Basically, like if you take there's a lot of studies and research that have been done on the impacts of mental wellness and mental well-being on every aspect of your life. So that includes your relationships. And I mean, we all are aware of how, when stress is unmanaged, how it causes physical symptoms like backaches and, stomach problems and lack of sleep, headaches. We've heard of all of these. So basically, mental well-being is the ability to handle, your life stresses and maintain good relationships without having any disturbances.
I believe that for any stage of an individual in their lives, it is very important to have a good wellness in both physical and mental well-being. And so, because it's correlated each other, interact with each other. So that is very important. So it's when we start from the beginning, Joanne, let's start from the childhood itself, right? So how you can explain further this teen mental wellness?
Okay. Well, teenagers are in a very crucial stage in their life because they are maturing. There's so many hormonal changes that are taking place in their bodies. They are learning to fit into society, and there's so many emotional changes that take place because they are now transitioning from a child into adulthood. So at this stage, it is very important for them to learn to maintain good mental wellness and a high level of mental well-being in order for them to be able to manage all the stresses of life in adulthood. So it has to start, actually, it's best if it starts in childhood, to be honest, where they learn to manage their emotions, because there are several techniques out there that can be used to manage your emotions, to calm yourself. And those, if they're taught at a young age, it will make their life so much easier as they grow up. Because yes, as children, you don't have that many, responsibilities to handle. But then as you grow into adulthood, when you start working, you have to manage your finances. And then if you get married, then your family life. All of those cause a lot of stress and tension. And in the end, if you are unable to manage it, you ruin everything that you have worked so hard to build. So the teenage age is a very important age for them to learn, to maintain wellness and the importance of it.
And also, I can recall that I have seen some of the social media that the kids, their parents are trained them patience. So they are giving some sweets in front of the camera and keep it not to eat until that parent come back. So then they are watching their behavior and how they behave, and whether they can stay until the parents comes and give that sweets to them to eat, or whether they grab it and have it. So likewise, they are doing some kind of a special kind of
Absolutely.
training to the kids.
Training. And
To,
yeah, and most importantly, the children watch their parents. So first of all, the parents have to learn to manage their stress in order for their children and their emotions, in order for their children to be able to follow the same thing.
and also now I'm really curious to ask this question, Joanne, because you have studied psychology and you have this the qualifications and the experience to share these kind of knowledge with us. So what would be the benefits if a child or a kid practice these kind of mental well-being from the beginning itself? So what would be the benefits that they would have?
Well, when they get in, so as we discussed earlier, a lot of the things we do are habitual. So when we teach the children at a young age to be able to manage their emotions, mindfulness is a very important aspect in order to manage your stress, in order to prevent yourself from doing things that you regret, especially when you act. We have the tendency to act on our emotions. So that is one. Our emotions are not bad. They're there for a reason, but we have to learn to respond to our emotions and not react to our emotions. Because when we react, it's that split second that we do something, and then we end up regretting it for a very long time. So as children, if we teach our children to be able to soothe themselves, to manage their emotions, to not react to their emotions, then as they grow up and they're faced with more and more situations that can be very testing in their life, they will be able to manage it. And another thing is the thoughts. I mean, humans are naturally wired to focus on the negative. So again, being able to calm yourself and use certain techniques to be more mindful will help you see both the good and the bad, and not just one side of it. Because when we're constantly focusing on the negative, then we don't see any of the good things in our life. So how can we be happy, and how can we enjoy our lives if we're only looking at the bad? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
That seed we have to plant today with our kids' mind and their heart. It's a huge responsibility for the parents and the teachers and the adults to give some kind of positive thinking, as well as to look at the things very optimistically. And look at the good things around them, and to appreciate, to have the gratitudes to everything what they have already. And there are a lot of changes we can make within individual's life because of that kind of small things that we can create today to change their lives. Actually, this teenager level kids and the children around the world, so they all have gone through these kind of challenges, especially having their own life challenges, and that will actually lead to their future. So if you can just share some of the scenarios and some of the situations that the country and beyond the country, in the world, statistics and how it is happening today.
Okay. Well, globally, mental health constitutes a major burden of disease for adolescents. In the year 2019, it was estimated that 1 in 7 adolescents experience mental disorders. This amounts to an estimated 166 million adolescents, girls and boys, globally. And so that is a very large, huge number. And this might not cover. There might be several unreported cases.
Yes.
So these are the recorded cases, but there might be in some countries where they're not recording. So we have to also assume that this number is not the total number, but there must be far more. And then if you take Sri Lanka, for instance, as of last year, out of the total number of people who died by suicide, 300 were between the ages of 8 to 20 years. And due to various reasons, relationships and different things. And recently, we had two incidents over a span of a couple of months where over the parents taking the child's phone away, they have died by suicide. So this is a real issue that is being faced right now. We have unfortunately, with the development of the digital world and technology, there are certain risks that we have to be very much aware of. And one of them is screen addiction. Sadly, screen addiction is just as bad as drug addiction. Biologically, when it comes to the changes that take place in the child's mind, in their brain, it's very similar. And so taking the phone away causes them to go into things like depression, which is a very scary situation, so it needs to be managed, and parents also need to be more aware of how much time their child is spending in front of a screen, and several other things such as the signs of drug addiction or even screen addiction. So those, I think, need to be looked into largely.
I think this is basically what has happened, Joanne, to our country as well as the other countries.
Everywhere in the world, yes.
Because the adults who can understand this kind of situations, that their main reason is their ignorance of their own child, the ignorance of their students, and these are the cases that can happen, right? It can be frequently and continuously. Yes. Can happen even in the future. That is why we are having these celebrations today, the World Teen Mental Wellness Day, 2nd of March 2022. To give you awareness, give you the right directions. And because of our future generation should be very mindful and having a good mental and physical wellness. So we have come across the consequences happening around the world because of this teen mental health. So we'll come back again to our local contest, our Sri Lankan contest. So what do you think our country, especially the general public, do you think our parents, teachers and adults, senior citizens, do they have the right awareness and right understanding about teen mental health and its importance, and giving priority and engaging with kids and teenagers regarding this matter?
Well, there is growing awareness in terms of mental health in general in the country, and there are quite a few parents who are willing to take their children and who do take their children to therapists, and they seek help when they feel is needed. In addition, from what I know, there are schools that teach psychology as a subject, and some schools that even have a psychologist available for students. And they come in and they do workshops and things like that. In addition, there are quite a few groups who are doing a lot of awareness in different areas of the country, which is great. So there is a lot of awareness being built, and I think Sri Lanka, is headed in the right direction. There is still stigma attached to seeking help. However, I think, as when it comes to like people like us who are focusing on building awareness, eventually that stigma, I hope, will go away.
They should have their own initiation and own willingness to take a change and address the problem. You can just elaborate furthermore. In our country, what are the other positive things regarding this teen mental health, and especially when it comes to the parents' engagement with children, with their quality time and spend with the children, as well as sharing their difficulties, maybe can be some emotional challenge, social pressure, whatever the consequences they have in the children in their mind. So how do they engage with their parents and trying to solve some of the consequences?
Well, I do believe that parents need to have a relationship with their children where their children feel comfortable to speak to them about things. And parents also need to educate themselves a little bit on certain sensitive topics such as drugs and sexual health. Nowadays, there's a lot of information online where parents can, read up. Like if you go to the WHO website, there's quite a lot of information, and educate. As a parent, you need to educate yourself, and then you need to also have an open conversation with your children and make your child feel comfortable to speak about these things without feeling judged. because say your child makes a mistake, they should be comfortable enough to know that you will be there for them and guide them in the right direction, because we are all human and we all make mistakes. So it is very important that we learn this sense of acceptance and we accept our children for everything that they are, without trying to make them be like somebody else's child. Or it's very important to have this open relationship with children, because especially nowadays they're exposed to so many things on the internet and they can learn the wrong things. And if you don't have that openness, you might learn about these things a little too late. So if you have this open relationship, then there's a possibility that your child will come and discuss these things with you, and then you can guide them. So it's very important to have that. And a recent report published by the WHO also recommends parental engagement and support for children, because it reduces the feelings of loneliness, which leads to several other issues in terms of mental wellness.
Yes. So it is very important that parents, and especially the teachers, adults, grandparents, they should be taking this as a responsibility to
Absolutely.
oversee beyond the other limits, like whatever the barriers. So
Yes.
to your children and spend some time with them and talk to them and open with the relationship as just like friendship, and just trying to find out whom they are, what is their on that mental state. Until it's getting too late, we always say the parents and the closed relationships are the best life coach ever. So support each other to get rid of these kind of situations. Yes, over to you, Joanne.
Yes, sorry. And I would like to also add that certain sensitive topics such as drug use and sexual health, I understand that, in our culture, it's a little bit of a taboo topic, especially when it comes to sexual health. However, these are very important topics that parents need to address with their children, so that they can guide them down the right path. And ideally, if schools were able to actively teach comprehensive sexual education, which is not only about the biological aspect of sexual health, but it teaches students about, maintaining a good family life, about mutual respect, about respect for yourself, about violence, about abuse. And these are important things, because when children are instilled with this knowledge, and when they have to go out into the world, they will be more aware and more equipped to handle all the situations that they have to deal with. And maybe it will even prevent them from facing certain issues, that they might face if they don't know about it. So these are things that can be done. I mean, if the school curriculum, I think it is a very big process to include something into a school curriculum. However, if parents can be aware of it, then they can, teach their children these things.
Yeah. Especially the reproductive systems and how the generations wise it will be changing, because of most of the time, Joanne, I believe this is a very open discussion, not even in the teenagers or the children. They have the curiosity, obviously, but with the youth and the adults also, the number one in the world of searching that process. So because of the curiosity, it should be an open discussions, and they should aware of these facts. And as you said, not only limited to the reproductive system sexual education, but beyond that, the violence and the harassments, whatever related to that topic, they should aware, and they should know the right directions in life and what to use and what not to use. So this is very important. And also the game addiction. There are many things, and the wrong kind of behaviors with other children. When you have the kids, if they are having the other friends, you have to be more focused and more mindful and whom they are in day-to-day life. So, and also many aspects as parents and adults and the guardians, you have to focus on your children and the teenagers, because this is the most crucial point, the turning point of life from teenager to the youth and the adult. As the person is understanding this concept of psychology, you can give the awareness program today, give some suggestions and recommendations, and how to focus on and how to identify if there's any drawback or any other kind of a um, mental issue with the kids, and how to overcome it, and just to avoid that kind of situations in future, share some kind of suggestions and kind of tips and ways to our parents and teachers and adults in the community.
Okay, well, I think one of the main things is that when it comes to parents, they are their child's first role model. And the children will watch what they do more than listen to what they are told. So firstly, as parents and even teachers, we have to understand that children are watching what we're doing, and they will mimic that behavior. So that is important. And in terms of looking for being aware of certain changes, so when spending quality time with children, you observe them, and then you'll understand if there are any behavioral changes, if they are more quiet, maybe their meal patterns may have changed. These are subtle things that you can inquire about to understand whether there is some problem or whether they are undergoing something. But everything begins with spending some quality time with your child, because that is very important. And that is where you will be able to observe all of these things. So most often, if they are going through something, you will notice their mood changes, their eating patterns might change. They might not want to interact with people. So there are several other, symptoms as well, but these are some of the subtle things that you can keep an eye out for.
So what kind of recommendations that you can give to avoid these kind of things, addictions, kind of misbehaviors, disrespectfulness, like kind of things? What kind of suggestions that you recommend at the moment for the parents to take for their kids at the very early stage to avoid them for getting into that kind of a trouble?
Well, in terms of behavior, as I mentioned before, parents are their child's first role model. Growing up, they are the main people that they interact with. And so the parents first have to set an example for their children, because the children will follow what their parents are doing, especially at a young age. So the main thing is the parents have to set a good example and create a comfortable environment of acceptance, where you accept your child for everything that they are, and not try to compare them to other children, because they are an individual being, and they will have their own little characteristics and their own personality. So the main thing is that you get to know them for who they are and guide them down the right path in life.
Really glad that we meet today and sharing these kind of recommendations and suggestions for our community in real life. So Joanne Fernandez with us today. She has this wonderful program called Flourish program. So I would like to share some of the things about your program and what are the services that you offer.
Well, I just started the Flourish program, and I started it because I want to build awareness on mental health, on well-being, and basically help people to reach fullest potential in life. So in terms of some of the things that I do from the Flourish program is I build awareness on social media. I'm also focusing on doing some workshops at the moment for companies, where I teach them certain skills, scientifically proven skills, to manage stress, to be more mindful, several things like that, manage their emotions. And I'm also looking into other aspects such as life coaching and mindfulness one-on-one. So it's a mindfulness program where it's a one-on-one program, and I will help you and we work together to lead a more mindful life. So that is my main focus at the moment.
Yeah, that's very useful for our parents and adults, whoever wants us to have a change in their lives and have a good life, better life, with full of mindfulness and understanding, acceptance to all the challenges, whatever happens in life, because we never know what will happen next in our life, because it's very uncertain world that we are living. Because of this global pandemic periods, lots of people have changed their normal lifestyles, the new normal lifestyle. So there are many challenges you may have. It cannot be unopened discussions right now. Maybe there are many situations that we have not discussed today, but still there's a way that you can overcome those challenges, right? Find the solutions, and best thing is to focus on your children, give some value time and quality time for your children, and have a good family life. And the children are our future. That's why if we create that future with our children, giving them a good life and future, so I think we all have a better country in our future generations. So that is what we are trying to do going forward, creating a sustainable future for our upcoming generation in this country. So I must thank you very much, Joanne Fernandes. But before we end, I want you to speak up and give the inspirational message to celebrate this special Teen Mental Wellness Day. So it is over to you to give the inspirational message to our teenagers as well as parents and adults.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. And my inspirational message to everyone would be the main person that you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. So focus on yourself and focus on growing yourself and becoming the best that you can be as a person. And remember always to be patient and kind with yourself.
Thank you, Joanne Fernandes. It's your future, and you have to create your masterpiece, whom you want to be and whom you want to become in your future. So it's your responsibility, especially the kids as well as teenagers and then youth, the adults. It's all your responsibility. You can't blame for the society whatsoever. It begins with your own responsibility. So that's why we are giving this kind of awareness. That's what we are guiding and coaching you through Real Life Sri Lanka Life Coaching Network. So we'll come back again with another day with another topic. And thank you very much, Joanne. And
Thank you so much for having me.
I invite you to stay with us, and we have some more programs to give the service to our children as well as our adults. And also I want to remember that we have the Creativity and Innovation Forum happening right now. If you want to have a very creative child, and you have to direct them to the right direction. So that's why we have these kind of forums and let them engage, and you have different kind of hobbies, different kind of habits, and grow up with the right mindset and the mindfulness. And that's more important thing in the life as a teenagers when they grow up as a responsible person in the future. So thank you very much, and we'll come back again with another program. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed.